Hey guys, YouTube Arent here. Alright, and I told you guys I was going to make this video before. Yeah, so this video, like I've said before, this is gonna be a video about why I'm still I still do prefer going to the movie theater to see a new movie rather than watching it on a streaming service. Because of course ever since this whole COVID pandemic started, like it's really had a big impact on a lot of businesses. It's really hit businesses really hard, and there's been quite a few businesses that have really gone out of business due to the whole COVID pandemic. Yeah, and it's also had a really big impact on the movie business. Yeah, because of course when COVID hit, it really did force a lot of businesses to really shut their doors until further notice. And movie theaters were one of them. So movie theaters ended up closing down for quite a while. And yeah. And of course with the movie theaters closing, a lot of studios decided that to get their movies out, they release them on streaming services, whether it's Disney Plus or HBO Max or yeah, there's all these popular streaming services. yeah, yeah. And when that was happening, when the movie theaters were closed and the movies were being released on streaming services, that was fine. There really was not really any other way to really get the movies out so people could see them. So so they really did opt to just have these movies just be released directly to the streaming services and stuff. Yeah, and when it was like that, when the movie theaters were closed, and they just did this as a way to really get their movies out, that was fine because it was just the only way they could really get these movies out to the people. So when they were doing that, that was fine. But now movie theaters are back open. They've been back open for months now. But of course, there are still movies that are, while they are getting a theater release, they're still also being just released on those streaming services. And there's people that really are opting to just watch them on the streaming service rather than seeing them in the theater. And and I'm not in support of that. I'm just not in support of seeing the new releases on a streaming service just rather than going to the theater. I still do prefer seeing these new releases in the theaters. Yeah. And in this video, I am really going to talk about why I still do prefer the theaters rather than just watching these movies on streaming services. So I did kind of talk about this in my last video when I was giving my thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong a bit. I did give a few reasons on why I do still prefer to see these new releases in the theater instead of just watching them on streaming services. So in this video I really am going to kind of just say more about why I do feel that way, talk more about those reasons I did give, and also give some more reasons why I do feel this way as well. All right, so so I've thought about at least 10 reasons on why I really do feel this way about the whole subject. So really I'm just really going to talk about each reason and why I really do feel this way, and why I really am still in the mindset to really choose the theater over the streaming services. All right, so let me not waste too much time. So let me just get started with this. So this is really going to be why I still prefer the movie theaters over the streaming services. All right, so let me just get started. All right, so my first reason on why I still do prefer the theaters is that this is kind of what I said before in the Godzilla vs. Kong video. Big movies are meant to be seen in the theater. And so I talked about this when I was giving my thoughts on Godzilla vs. Kong. I did say that was a movie that really was meant to really be seen in the theater. And just really huge movies like that really are meant for the theater because just like with like so much hype and just like what's like such like huge films these are like Godzilla versus Kong. Like I said, I mean this was a movie that had really been hyped up for years, and so yeah, and just like how big of a movie this was, it really is meant to be seen in the theater. I mean, yeah, when you like go to see it in the theater, like it's that theater, like those kinds of movies really are the ones that really will just give you those images and those visuals that you are just like really meant for you to really see in a theater. Yeah. And it really is this way for like a lot of movies. Like it's not really just like with Godzilla versus Kong. Of course, like a lot of the superhero movies, yeah, just superhero movies in general are also really meant to be seen in the theater yeah, because yeah, these are just like some of the biggest movies of all time. And of course, like these movies are the ones that really do make like the big bucks. These are ones that really bring in the big bucks, whether it is like Marvel or DC or whatever the case may be. Yeah, just yeah, the comic book movies like that. Those are ones that you really are really meant to really see in the theater. Of course, like because these are really like the big movies that, like I said, they do bring in the big bucks. Like yeah, and of course, like there are other like movies like that. Of course, like Disney is a big company, so yeah, usually like Disney movies really are meant to really be seen in the theater for the most part, whether they are just like Disney or Pixar or whatever the case may be. Yeah, and so really just like any like really big Hollywood movie, yeah, these are really movies that really that you really are like meant to really go see in the theater because yeah, when you just watch it, like if you do watch it on like a streaming service and stuff, like when you do just like see the movie on TV, like you're really not really feeling the same way. Like just yeah, it just really it isn't really it won't really like give you the same feeling if you just like watch it like on TV at home. Like you won't feel like it really doesn't give you that same feeling than you would if you do like watch it in the theater. So yeah, so really just yeah. Yeah, whenever there is like a really like big Hollywood movie that is like coming out or that has come out, like yeah, any like huge movie like that, yeah, that's a movie that you really are just yeah, it is really meant for you to go see it in the theater, see it on the big screen stuff. So yeah, so that's like one reason because just like with the big movies, those are really meant for you to go see them in the theater, and they're not and not just like watch them at home where it just this isn't gonna feel as special at all. So really just yeah, people are just really meant to really see like the huge movies in the theater. All right. Yeah. All right. My next reason, this is kind of a continuation from what I was just talking about. Another reason why is because like the theaters really give you like that big epic feeling for like just like certain moments in movies. So yeah, like I was saying before, like a lot of the visuals in like Godzilla versus Kong, like scenes with like them fighting and just the face offs and stuff like that, like those moments are like the moments that really just feel just so much more like huge and epic when you actually do see it in the theater, yeah. And there's just like several moments like this in movie history where there's like there are like certain moments that are just really feel just like so much more epic and bigger for watching them in the theater rather than if you just watch them at home. Yeah, because yeah, yeah, it just is like this for like many different moments. Like the Marvel movies, for example, like there are just like so many like huge big moments in the Marvel movies, whether it is the Avengers movies or they are just like the solo Marvel movies, like if it is just like Iron Man or Captain America or Thor or whatever the case may be. Like take the final battle in Avengers Endgame, for example. Like when you finally do see like absolutely everybody finally coming together to fight Thanos and his army. Yeah, I mean, it really was the culmination of everything Marvel had been building up to for the last 11 years. And just seeing that, like, in the theater, like, you see that, and it just feels so epic finally seeing that. And plus, also, like, those kind of scenes also can sometimes really, like, have the huge crowd pleasers where you, like the audience is actually cheering, seeing all this. So yeah, that really does like really make make it just feel like much more epic, and can just like send chills down your spine. Yeah, and just yeah, and there are just like many moments like this in movie history. Like Disney movies, for example, they've had like just so many just like just huge moments, and that's where it just like feels so unbelievable actually watching it in the theater, because you watch something at home, and like if you watch it at home, like it just really doesn't feel as epic, because I've really like noticed it, because there are times where like you see a movie in a theater and it just feels like so epic. That Endgame scene, for example, like I was saying, it just like felt so epic seeing that in the theater. But then yeah, then when you watch it, and when it like comes out to Blu-ray or something, and you watch it again, and it is still great to see, but it just doesn't really give you that same big epic feeling that you got when you watched it in the theater. And it's the case like this for just a bunch of movies where they just feel like so epic seeing them in the theater, and then when you rewatch them when they come out to home video or stuff, yeah, it just really doesn't give you that same feeling. So yeah, if you do watch a movie on HBO Max, X, or Disney Plus, or just any streaming service, that's really going to be the case. And like I said, I do feel that if I would have seen Godzilla vs. Kong just on HBO Max, those like huge epic scenes and those visuals really wouldn't have felt as epic as if I was watching it on a streaming service. So yeah, so really just yeah, you got to go to the movie theater to really like just make it seem like really like so epic and stuff. So yeah, so that's really just a huge advantage I feel that movie theaters really do have over streaming services. All right. So next reason, once again, kind of a continuation reason, is that seeing movies within a crowd can really add to the enjoyment sometimes. So yeah, so I know that there are like a lot of times where people say that sometimes it's like it's just, like when they see a movie in the theater, sometimes like people in the audience can kind of ruin the experience, and that is kind of like one of the things that like people have really like turned against movie theaters for, is because they just don't like how people in the audience can sometimes be. But yeah, when you are like in the right crowd, like if you are like in the right audience, yeah, movie seeing a movie like within a crowd can really just like add to your enjoyment, because yeah, just the atmosphere can really just like give you like some more enjoyment to the movie. So yeah, kind of like going on with what I was just talking about, like where like sometimes when you're in a crowd, like the crowd can like just really like cheer some real epic moments, like that Endgame scene. Yeah, just yeah, the crowd can really just like add to the enjoyment of the movie if you're seeing the movie within the right crowd. Because yeah, like I said, just like when you hear like the audience cheering, that just really makes the scene just feel so much more epic. Or even like if you're like go to see a comedy, and yeah, and when you just like are watching the movie and there's like a funny scene in there, and when you just like hear the crowd laughing, that can really just like add to the like just the ambiance to it. Because yeah, when you are just like watching the movie and you just like the crowd is laughing, sometimes it can just really make it seem like a lot funnier, because I know there are a lot of people that sometimes just like when they hear like people laughing, they like start laughing themselves. Well, yeah, and yeah, and just like seeing like if you go to like see comedies, and yeah, and when like the audience really does laugh at a scene, it can just really make the scene seem just like so much more funny. Like whether it is like the Jackass movies, or if you're watch or if you watch like an Adam Sandler movie, if you are watching the right one, like some of his classic movies, movies, or yeah, just like some of the funniest movies out there. Yeah, just yeah, you see it in a crowd, and it just seems like a lot more funny when you hear the audience laughing at it. Like I know I've had this experience before where like you see like a funny movie in the theater, and just yeah, when the crowd does laugh, it just really does make it seem like a lot more funny. But yeah, but then like when you are rewatching the movie, when you're not within a crowd, it's just you there, and you just like are watching those scenes, and they just really don't seem as funny because yeah, there may be times where like you're watching these funny scenes, but yeah, when you're watching them at home, just there may be times where you don't even laugh because they just don't seem as funny. Yeah, I have kind of like had that experience before, like a lot of those scenes in the first Avengers movie, like the Hulk scenes, like where he punches Thor off the screen, and then when he like slams Loki around, and all that stuff. Like those scenes, like seeing them in the theater, they were absolutely hilarious. It's just like with the crowd laughing and stuff, it really just does like really kind of make it seem even funnier. But then when you watch it at home, there's no crowd and there's nobody really like laughing along with like when those the scenes do happen. It just really doesn't seem as funny. So yeah, so just like when you do watch these movies at home, like they're just really like it can really like just make kind of like have an effect on your enjoyment for the film because it won't really like make you be like really as into the movie when those like crowd pleasers do occur in the movie because when you see it in the theater it can just really just like the with the crowd cheering or laughing or whatever they're doing, it can really just add to your enjoyment of the film. So yeah, so really just yeah, so really just yeah, so yeah, that really is really the case here. Just like if seeing a movie in a crowd can really add to your enjoyment with like the cheering and the laughing and stuff. So yeah, all right, all right. Number four, uh, it's an easier escape from reality. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, when you're in a theater and you're watching a movie, it really does kind of like make you like be more invested into it, and really just it's a way for you to really kind of get away from your reality because when you're watching a movie in a theater, like sometimes like the movie you're just like so into the movie that it really just like you're not really paying attention to the reality and you just really do like seem like it really does make you kind of like feel like you're really there if you're like watching like a true classic or a movie that really does really like give you that feeling that you really do feel like you're there. And like there are like films that really do that where like it just like where you really do believe it's real because you're just like so invested into it. But yeah, and when you are watching a movie at home, like it's really just yeah, it's not like that because yeah, when you are watching it at home, like there is like a lot of stuff that can like distract you, and yeah, it just really doesn't really give you that same way to escape from reality. Like you do are still like in reality when you're watching it, and there's just like sometimes where it can you can really get distracted and really just yeah, it really is just like not really an escape from reality experience like it would be if you are watching a movie in a theater. So yeah, and that kind of like does also kind of like have a the reason for like my next point is that the focus does stay on the movie in the theater because yeah, when you do watch a movie at home, like there's just like a bunch of stuff that could distract you because whether it's your phone ringing or somebody's at the door or the dog barking or whatever the case may be, like there's just a lot of stuff that will really like get you distracted while you're watching the movie and really just yeah, it'll kind of like take your focus away from watching the movie. Yeah, if you watch it in a theater though, like your focus will actually just stay on the movie because yeah, your phone will be silent. Nobody is gonna be coming in, and yeah, or like knocking on the door or anything looking for you. There won't be any barking dog. Like there won't be any really true disturbance in the theater. Like your focus will actually like stay on the movie if you are like watching in the theater, and there won't be like anything to really like distract you and really like take your focus away from the movie for the most part. All right, so yeah, at least like if you do watch a movie in a theater, like you won't like get disturbed or distracted from the movie, and yeah, you will be able to pay better attention to the movie than if you were watching it at home. Because yeah, I've had that experience where like I'm trying to watch a movie, but there's just like been like distractions like all the time as I'm trying to watch it. So yeah, at least if you're in a theater, you won't have to worry about that. All right. All right. So yeah. So now I'm kind of like getting into the reasons that are now kind of like more like related to like the whole theater versus streaming service this debate. All right. So my next reason is that movies really aren't making profits right now. So yeah. So ever since like this whole pandemic started, even like when the movie theaters opened back up, like just movie theaters really well yeah movies really weren't making a whole lot of money in the theater. They really haven't because yeah a lot of people really are like opting for the streaming service option, and it's really causing like quite a lot of movies to really not do very well at the box office. Let me just go over a few examples. Wonder Woman 1984, which just came out this past Christmas Day, its box office was only $166.1 million against its $2 million budget. Budget. Uh, the new Mulan remake, that movie only grossed $70 million on a $20 million budget. And Soul, that only grossed $134.8 million against its $15 million plus budget. So yeah, so those are a few examples showing that like just the movies really are not really making any profits that's in the theater because a lot of people really are uh, opting for the streaming service option. And yeah, and I just really don't. And yeah, this is just really not a good thing because really just yeah, a lot of movies really are just like not really succeeding as well as they were before. And yeah, this is really kind of hurting the movie theater business. So yeah, so really just I'm really one that really is still I still do choose to support movie theaters to really like kind of help the movies really gross the money that they need. And yeah, a lot of movies really are not doing this right now. So really just yeah, I really don't see why people really are like choosing to really basically kind of just yeah, they really are really choosing to really do something that is really causing something new. Well, causing something that this pandemic has caused to really kind of do something else, which I am going to get to in a little bit. All right, but yeah, at number 7, and is that we do want things back to normal, don't we? Yeah, yeah, because yeah, the whole COVID pandemic has really just caused like a bunch of stuff to really change up. Of like businesses have been like really changed. A lot of the way like like certain restaurants and certain stores do their business. It's been like totally changed. Yeah, and this is another change that the COVID pandemic has caused. That really just movies are available on streaming services instead of people going to the theater. I mean, we do want things back to normal around here, don't we? Yeah, and back to normal would be having the new releases be released in the theater and people going to see them there. So yeah, so I really don't understand why people like that. They say they do want things back to normal, yet this, like with them choosing the streaming service over the theater, that's not helping to get things back to normal. You know, so yeah, you want things back to normal, yet you're doing this. So yeah, so it's really kind of contradictory if you really think about it. Like you want things back to normal, yet you're still choosing the new option over the or to help get it back to normal. So yeah, so I really just don't understand the logic in that. Yeah, yeah, and continuing on with that, with my next reason, why contribute to potentially cause another business to go under? Yeah, so of course, like due to the whole COVID pandemic, it's really caused like a bunch of businesses to really die out, and just yeah, a lot of businesses have really just gone out and stuff. Yeah, so why do people really they basically are when they do choose the streaming service or the theater, it is like potentially gonna cause some movie theaters to really just go under as well. So yeah, so why are people even gonna why are you contributing to potentially having another business go under because of this whole to what this COVID pandemic did to a bunch of other businesses? So people really are like kind of like being the part of the problem doing that. So I don't choose to be that kind of person. So that's another reason why I still do choose to go to the theater instead of the streaming service option. And because I really don't want to be another one to cause another business to go under. So I really don't see why people really would be like that. All right. Yeah. And yeah, speaking of which, my next reason is that opting for streaming services is the equivalent to basically selling out. Now, because, yeah, of course, like people would probably say that, like, since like there's no additional cost to watching the movies on the streaming services, it's a cheaper option than going to the theater and pay for a ticket to go see it. So, yeah, so choosing the cheaper option, it's basically the equivalent to selling out movie theaters. Like, why would you sell out what is basically like seeing what you think is a better choice, or like one that really will be more for like something that will help you out with your money? Like, seriously, like that is basically selling out. Like, selling out is like when people turn their back on something that really will like offer them more money, money and stuff, and they're just like turning on what they really do love for what will give them more money. And here, like, you're gonna be like not spending as much money. Well, at least that's what people think. Like, over just spending money to pay to see something the way it should be seen. So why are you even choosing to be sellouts like that? Like, this goes for like the studios that are actually accepting the money from like these streaming services to release their movies on them, as well as the people that actually are choosing to using the streaming service over going to see the movie in the theater. So yeah, so there's just like so many people guilty of this. So why are you becoming sellouts? So yeah, that's another. Yeah, so that's something else I refuse to do. I refuse to sell out movie theaters, and I choose to still support them. I'm not going to sell out like that. All right, and finally, my last reason I'm going to give is I was just talking about like how people really are thinking that the streaming service is really a cheaper option. Well, my final reason is that tickets are still actually cheaper than the monthly streaming service fee. Now, so this may not be the case depending on whether you're going to see a movie solo or in a group. But yeah, just actually think about this. Like, for all these streaming services, whether it's Disney Plus or HBO Max or whatever the case may be, yeah, of course they do have like a monthly service fee. Like, for like HBO Max, they have like they they have like a $15 monthly fee, or like the subscription is like a $15 a month. And like for Disney Plus, like if you choose to go like down the Premier Access, that's usually what like Disney Plus does do for like the new releases. That's what they did for the Mulan remake, and yeah, they've done that for like a lot of new releases. They've like put them on Premier Access. Yes, yeah, and that is like $30. Yeah, when you for a movie ticket, like I said, this could depend on like whether you're just going solo or if you're in a group. But yeah, a single movie ticket ranges from like $6 to $12. Yeah, so technically, he like if you're just buying a single movie ticket, that is actually a cheaper route than paying to see these movies on the monthly on these streaming services. So yeah, like I said, this may not be the case because like if you're like a full family, like if you're like a family of four, like it'll be more, it'll cost more. But still, I mean, come on. And if you're going alone, you seriously can't like spare like another $6 to $12 to see this movie. Yeah, like, the concessions are like something else, but yeah, for a movie ticket, that's just like that's still technically cheaper than the uh, monthly fee for these streaming service subscriptions. So yeah, so technically the movie theater could like still technically be a cheaper choice. So yeah, so what people think with like the streaming service being a cheaper option than the movie theater, that may not even actually be the case. The movie theater is actually technically a cheaper route. So yeah, so basically like they're wrong in their thinking. Like it's not what like the it's not really as cheap as they may actually think it is. So yeah, so technically the movie theater technically is still a cheaper option than the streaming services. So yeah, so people really are just this like yeah, they are just like doing something that technically that they think is the cheaper option, but yeah, when you actually do think about it, it's not. So yeah, so really just yeah, go to the movie theater to see these movies. All right, yeah, okay, so yeah, so there you guys go. Those are my reasons why I still do prefer to see these the new release movies on in the theater and not on the streaming services. Like I was talking about in my Godzilla vs Kong video, like I was saying at the end, the streaming service is fine. Like the first time you see these movies, they should definitely be in the theater. And then once you do see it, if you still do like it, then you like watching it on the streaming services is the I think the right route to go because you won't have to pay up to watch the movie again. Like I know that like over the years, like the movie going experience really has kind of like been changed and it's really not as good as it used to be years and years ago because yeah, with like the assigned seating and the prices of like the concessions and stuff, and, like there are people that really have grown to hate movie theaters, but yeah, the new releases are still ill like meant to really go to the movie theater to see. And yeah, and the reasons that I gave really are like part really like why it is. Like I don't know like what people are really gonna think about my reasons. Some people may think that like my reasons are just like absolutely weak and they're not valid or whatever. But yeah. But yeah, this is really like why I still do prefer the movie theaters over the streaming services. So yeah, so which do you guys prefer? Like, are you like me and still do choose to go to the theater to see these new releases, or do you just like decide to just like watch these movies on the streaming services to save your money? So yeah, which route are you guys under? You can let me know and comment on my channel. Yeah, but yeah, there you guys go. That is really why I do still prefer the movie theaters over the streaming services. All right, so yeah, so I hope you guys did enjoy this video. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.